What's up guys, Max Tech Toy Box here, and I drove nearly 800 miles in my Tesla from South Florida to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Here's how much I paid to charge. So there are some important details that I must lay out from the beginning. I did drive a Tesla Model Y Performance, which is supposed to get you roughly 304 miles on a 100% battery. This was not the long range, which would get you about 360 miles. My Tesla at this point probably gets me about 274 to 284 miles on a full 100% battery. I did charge my battery to 100% from my house prior to beginning my destination, okay? When I input my traveling destination into my Tesla, did say I had 5 different stops, so I did stop and charge 5 different times. All of these were V3 chargers. They were all official Tesla chargers, so I did not stop at an Electrify America or some other third-party charging station. There were no idle times. All of the chargers, even though technically some of them were during off-peak hours, I did not get a discounted rate except for one of the chargers that I was at. The rest of them was all a flat standard rate. I did overcharge at each of my charging destinations because I had done a bunch of research and I just wanted to be better safe than sorry. I didn't want to be caught in a pinch and not have enough battery. But I will say that Tesla, they drastically underestimate how much your mileage will be when you actually reach your destination. So I do think that I did not need to do that. And actually, when I head back from Pigeon Forge, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stop at the time that they recommend to continue my journey, just so that I don't get charged any extra fees because I'm likely not going to be traveling in the morning time, and also just to speed things up a little bit. Okay, so the first charging stop that I went to was the West International Speedway Daytona Beach charging station. As you guys can see, I basically paid about 31 cents per kilowatt. With taxes and everything, that came to a total of $15.49. Okay, really wasn't bad, and I believe that I charged there for roughly about 25 minutes, which you guys can see in the video. The next stop was at Kings Island, Georgia. So this particular charger was a little bit different because it had tiered pricing. I'm not 100% sure why, because when I pulled up to the charging station, it didn't say anything or tell me anything about discounted rates during off-peak hours, which is what I originally thought was going on. But if you guys actually look at the breakdown, it's like tiered pricing. One was tier 1 for charging at this speed, then tier 2 for charging at this speed, and tier 3. To be completely honest with you guys, when I parked the car and I charged, actually, to be honest, in general, I really don't pay attention to the charging price. I just sort of plug and play. So I really didn't even notice this until I took a look at the invoice, which I'm sharing with you guys here, to see that there was actually a different price. So again, as you guys see, for 13 minutes, I was charged at 0.22 cents, for 16 minutes, 69 cents, and then for 12 minutes at 41 cents, which brought my grand total to $18.82. So again, this one a little different because I was sort of charged per minute, not per kilowatt. And I do believe it has something to do with off-peak hours, but I just have not been able to get down to the reason as to why this one was actually cheaper. My third charging destination was Yemassee, South Carolina. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And as you guys can see, I was charged roughly 28 cents per kilowatt. With taxes, that brought my total to $15.60. Of course, you guys can see in the video exactly how long it took me to charge at this particular charger. But again, the charging for here was $15.60. Going on to my fourth stop, which was in Columbia, South Carolina. This was 28 cents per kilowatt. With taxes, this brought my total to $16.20. And last but certainly not least, my last pit stop was in Asheville, North Carolina. I charged here for roughly, I think, 25 minutes, 33 cents per kilowatt, and it brought my total to $13.65. So all in all, I spent roughly about 20 to 25 minutes at each charging station. I believe one or two I charged for maybe 30 to 35 minutes, but on average, I would say that I was there for about 25 minutes at each across the board. I will also say that I spent about 32 cents per kilowatt when you do the math in total throughout the entire trip. Now, when you combine all of these prices, that means that I spent $80.77. Now, $80.77 for a trip for 760 miles is really not that bad. Now, although it doesn't necessarily factor into this particular trip, from my house to the Airbnb that I was at, I did have charging at the Airbnb and also at home. So my last pit stop, I really did not even need to overcharge there either. If I had not overcharged, I could have definitely made, I don't want to say made it in record time, but I could have improved my time and I would not have had to pay as much money. So a couple of different things that I would have done differently is, for one, I would not have overcharged, okay? Because I think that although it is better to be safe than sorry at this point, because there are so many Tesla superchargers, and in my experience throughout this entire journey, there was never more than 3 different chargers wherever I was at. I mean, right now in Pigeon Forge, there's a huge supercharger maybe 5 minutes from here, and I think we're probably the only Tesla, and I haven't seen another Tesla since I've been up here. So I will say in South Florida, it's a little bit more congested, but as you get to different parts of the country, Teslas are obviously, they're just not that big, especially when you compare it to Fords and so many other different companies. So again, I would not overcharge because I believe that the charging network is large enough to where I don't really have to worry about running out of battery. I think that that's a thing of the past. But again, I was comparing this to your traditional gas-powered vehicle. I can safely say that I would have spent maybe between 160 to 200 bucks, okay, just to make it up here. Because I think that I would have had to have stopped at least 1 to 2 times. Definitely would have been less stops, but I would have had to pay more in gas. So, Smack Sack Toy Box, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below and I will do my best to answer those questions. Also have a couple of other channels, Team H Travels, which sort of depicts the entire journey. My wife and I, we took our 2-year-old on this trip. And so you guys can go and check that out if you guys want more details about how all of that went, and also what our vacation was like in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Until you guys see me again, stay safe and take care. Peace.